seems to be a city where there's a whole range of different sort of people, but everyone knows each other. There's certain places where people gather and you know, swap ideas, and the whole scene sort of is self-creating. It's a city that's small and big all at the same time, and it gives it that special atmosphere that you just don't see in London.
You're having, if you like, an inner city urban culture which is actually being voiced through a cultural medium in such a way that it's more down to earth than any other particular scene that has actually taken place.
The media is centred very much on this Manchester explosion that's happening at the present time, and the whole thing's self-perpetuating, isn't it? It's been very exciting. I mean, I'd like to think that the Hacienda is certainly one catalyst of what's been happening. The building itself is interesting, and the Hacienda is now 80 years old. But the architecture there is just as pertinent now as it was when the club first opened. We're very keen to open a second Hacienda in New York, and in fact this summer we're going to do a whole series of events, concerts and club nights in New York to set the tone and opening a club there.
I mean, everyone goes on about Manchester, hooded tops and spiral carpets, Happy Mondays and things. No one's heard of anything else apart from those.
The scene is nothing. Nothing? It is air. It is everything.
It's great, but because everybody says though they like the Stone Roses or whatever, then everyone's just jumped on the bandwagon, and you can't say, well, I like them first.
It's good for everything. It's good for music.
The Manchester music scene, very alternative, very trendy.
Stone Roses are quite good.
Manchester's always been a good place, you know, for music and for things going on, because it's been such a sort of diversified city in terms of its culture.
Happy Mondays are brilliant. Happy Mondays are very good.
Stone Roses.
Stone Roses, yep. Be there, be square.
No, it's all drugs, really, and it's all just drugs.
What about Yell? Turned up with 3 people to the concert. We lost $7 grand the first time ever.
Suburban subordination is actually seeping through in a sort of manner which actually proves contrary to the heightened commerciality of the scene that you've got nowadays through chart music, for example.
Happy Mondays are quite good. Not live, the records are all good, but the mixing's good, all the acid stuff's good, the radio's good. So it'll be so good, it's better than London anyway, it's better than anywhere else.
It's got a bit of a cult, hasn't it?
Hacienda used to be good when I could get in. Nowadays it's full of students all standing there with the flares and the kickers going, I drink Michelob. It's true, isn't it, though? I mean, Michelob, who drinks Michelob?
In fact, she's promoting the good business, obviously, in Manchester, around places where nothing was happening a few years ago.
Feet on the brat, feet on the brat, feet on the brat with a baseball bat. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Happy Monday's success just recently has made people aware that the factory is not just about New Order. And just as exciting is Northside, who have been signed to Factory just recently, and their first release is due any time now. So, you know, exciting times ahead, most definitely.
And I'm not wearing flares. Can you get close up that I'm not wearing flares?
Neither am I.
Just to prove a point.
The people who run the company are people who are in touch and are part of what's going on. You know, Tony, for example, is around all the time. He lives and works with the people who are buying product locally. And certainly other people who are involved with the record label, you know, are to be found about. They're not in some remote office in London. But I think essentially there's a passion amongst the people who are involved with Factory for the city, for the young people who live in it, and for particularly the young people in the city who are creative. And that is perhaps why we've struck a vein of success.
See? Punk rock. Who needs a Manchester scene when you've got the Buzzcocks?
I wasn't in Manchester at the time that the Factory first started, and all of those groups came through that, the Buzzcocks period. But I imagine that it is a similar period that we're having now. Well, I think that this present boom on the music side will continue. I hope it will continue with a little less press attention, because there's always this feeling there's going to be a sort of a backlash. But I see no shortage of creativity coming through. But perhaps that will be done less in the spotlight. I'm very confident about the future. I mean, for the city too, there's things like the Olympics on the horizon, and what an amazing influence that would have on the city. I think there's a very bright future.